Among Chainsaw Man's main cast, the most important character may just be Makima. It may not look like it early on in the story with characters like Power and Aki getting more focus, but as the story goes on, we see more and more of Makima. By the end of it, we have a full picture of just who Makima is and the reasons behind her actions. Be warned though, this video is going to be full of spoilers. It's hard to talk about Makima without getting into some important information from late in the Chainsaw Man's first part. So if you haven't read the manga yet, consider this your last warning. But if you're sticking around, get ready. We're getting deep into Makima's character. When we first meet Makima, she seems like a benevolent force. Of course, she doesn't give Denji too much of a choice in being a devil hunter or not, but she gives him a new job and a place to live. Two things which Denji desperately needed. She mostly stays out of action when the series begins, but that changes around the Katana Man arc, where we see just how powerful Makima truly is. At the time, it's assumed that she made a contract with an incredibly strong devil. She's able to almost instantly kill her enemies with no effort. But as the story goes on, we see more and more of Makima's true personality. This shift starts to show itself in the International Assassins arc. There, we see that Makima is powerful enough to take on the Darkness Devil, a devil that had effortlessly killed and injured everyone else in its path. During this arc, we also see how truly ruthless Makima can be. When the assassin Quan Chi surrenders, she tells Makima not to hurt either of her girlfriends, but Makima doesn't listen and instead beheads all three of them. Of course, with Quan Chi actually being a devil hybrid like Denji, she survives. Up until the Gun Devil arc, we are led to believe that Makima was a human with a powerful contract. But that's not quite the case. She's revealed to be a devil herself, the Control Devil. As the Control Devil, Makima has power over those she considers inferior to her. If she gives someone an order, they have no choice but to follow it. This ability of hers is there from the very beginning. Makima is the only one that Power always listens to, because Power has no choice but to listen to her. And thanks to this, she's able to make allies with people who probably should hate her. For example, even after killing Quan Chi's girlfriends, Quan Chi still works for Makima, just because she has no other choice. Because of this, Makima also can force people into making a contract with her. One of the most powerful is with the Prime Minister of Japan. Because of this contract, anytime Makima is injured or killed, that injury instead happens to a random Japanese citizen. This makes it virtually impossible to harm her. This control of her also extends to other devils. We see her using the power of various devils like the Angel Devil and Zombie Devil during Part 1's final arc. Now, let's take a moment to talk about the significance of Makima being the Control Devil. Why the Control Devil specifically? Well, the Japanese word for control is shihai, and another translation for that word is conquest. That makes Makima one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Traditionally, the four horsemen are conquest, war, famine, and death. With Makima already introduced and the War Devil playing a large part in Chainsaw Man's second part, it's likely that all four will show up at some point. For now though, we'll be focusing on Makima and what exactly drives her actions throughout the manga. Like we said, Makima sees herself as superior to almost everybody. She's been manipulating Denji from the beginning. Her goal was to make Denji completely reliant on her and then take it all away in order to break him. A recurring motif for Makima is dogs. She calls Denji her pet when they first meet and owns a large amount of pet dogs. Dogs are how she sees all humans, just something for her to control. There's only really one person who Makima seems to have any amount of care for, and that is Chainsaw Man. Not Denji, but Pochita's original form. In fact, Makima seems to resent Denji for being the one to host Chainsaw Man. As we mentioned in a previous video, when Chainsaw Man eats another devil, whatever that devil represents, disappears forever. From a recent chapter, we learn that Chainsaw Man ate a part of the War Devil in the past. As a result, all wars that happened after World War I disappeared like they never happened. Makima's plan is to defeat Chainsaw Man in combat. Once she defeats him, she'll finally be able to control him. Makima claims that this is part of her plan to make the world a better place. She wants Chainsaw Man to devour any demons she believes will make the world worse. But despite her claims of a noble goal, she may not be as virtuous as she seems. It's in Makima's nature to be controlling after all. In her world, she really would control everyone. However, her admiration of the Chainsaw Devil seems to go deeper than just wanting to use him. Unlike everyone else, she seems to see Chainsaw Man as an equal. Her actions could even be seen as romantic, especially in chapter 96 where Makima says she wants to spend the rest of her life with Chainsaw Man. But other than her feelings towards Chainsaw Man, Makima lives up to her title as the Control Devil well. Her true intentions don't become clear until towards the end of the story, and by then, everyone else has fallen into her trap, especially Denji. Right from the beginning, Denji had fallen in love with her. Makima was the first person in ages to seem like she cared about him. He was willing to do anything for her, to a point where Denji admits that he likes the idea of being nothing more than Makima's pet, which of course is just what Makima wanted to hear. Makima has a lot of parallels with another iconic anime character, that being Haruko Harikara from the anime Fooly Cooly. Tatsuki Fujimoto named Fooly Cooly as one of Chainsaw Man's many inspirations, and that comes through most in Makima. Maybe not exactly in terms of her personality. While Makima is calculating and serious, Haruko is much louder and more abrasive. In fact, Power might have more in common with Haruko when it comes to personality. But when you look at the role they play in the story, the parallels are interesting. Both Makima and Haruko are mysterious women who take an interest in a young boy. Said boy falls in love with them, but ultimately it's revealed that they were just pawns. Pawns in order to get a much stronger power. However, despite Makima's strength as the Control Devil, she still met her end at Denji's hands. After Power sacrifices herself to save him, Denji recovers and comes up with a new plan. He realizes that Makima can't actually distinguish individual people by sight. She only tells people apart by how they smell. And every time she talked with Denji, she focused on the scent of his Chainsaw Man half. Denji uses a piece of his heart to create a sort of copy of himself to fight Makima. She's able to defeat him and rip out his heart, but that's when the real Denji attacked her. Because of Makima not recognizing his smell, he was able to sneak up on her and cut her with a chainsaw made of Power's blood. Thanks to the unique properties of Power's blood, the blood that gets inside Makima basically tears her apart from the inside out. But even this isn't enough to permanently kill Makima. Denji has only one solution to his problem. It's a pretty messed up one, but it works. He cuts Makima up into pieces and seals her in containers so she can't heal herself. Then over a course of several weeks or even months, Denji cooks and eats her. He figures it's the only way to get rid of Makima forever. But wait, just because Makima is dead doesn't mean the Control Devil is gone. Since Denji ate Makima as himself instead of Chainsaw Man, that means that she wasn't erased from history. In chapter 97, Denji is introduced to a little girl named Nayuta. She's the new form of the Control Devil has taken. Unlike Makima, she's still an innocent child who doesn't even seem to be aware that she's a devil. Nayuta is named and modeled after a character from one-shot manga by Fujimoto called Nayuta of the Prophecy. So judging by that and her status as the new Control Devil, she'll be very important later in the story. But it doesn't seem like Nayuta will turn out to be like Makima. In the final scene of Chainsaw Man's first part, Denji talks to Pochita in a dream. Pochita says that the control devil always wanted one thing: to be someone's equal. Now, as Nayuta, she has a new chance to do this. So Denji has basically become a dad to Nayuta and will try to raise her up to become a good person. Whatever happens next to Nayuta is a mystery, but there's no doubt that she'll be an important character. Will Denji be able to give her a good life, or will Nayuta end up following in Makima's footsteps?